Hello,
How is
everyone.
everyone?
Good to be live again
Yeah, it
after
feels like
missing
it's
last week,
been. It does feel like it's been forever.
mainly due to crazy storms coming through, which fortunately we didn't get hit.
Yeah, luckily, but we were real busy trying to lock everything down. Like we were getting warnings that like it was going to be tornadic activity, so we were outside battening down the hatches,
Yeah,
ratchet strapping down beehives, flipping over tables on our deck because they were saying the wind was going to be like 70 miles per hour. So we were a little bit scared that things were going to go wrong. And not to mention, when it's stressful like that, and we were going through kidding and we've started milking, and you guys can't see it on this table, but there's so many plant starts that I'm starting to harden off behind the computer. So it's been really crazy and hectic around here. So
yeah, sure has.
yeah, make sure you guys let us know that you can see us and that you can hear us. But I did miss you guys. And today when I was thinking about going live, like it feels like it's been like a month, but we just missed last week. So if that kind of gives you just kind of a glimpse into like how
I did sound check.
Crazy. You did sound check.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
So
Okay, so I saw that we had Nick from Arizona Highland Homestead. And buddy, you go to that Bible study. I support that 100%. It's more important. 100%.
Had the opportunity to host a couple at our church, and always a good time learning.
Yeah. Fellowship is important too.
Exactly.
Then we've got Eclectic Basil hanging in there. I'm trying, man. Poor Mark has been on the receiving end. Not that I've been mean or outwardly like, I don't think I've been outwardly evil. I've just had like miniature like breakdowns over the last couple weeks, but it's because my routines are changing, and when my routines change, it's stress. Like it gives me a lot of anxiety, and then I've got like a hair trigger. What do they call it? Like a hairline trigger.
Yep.
Hair trigger, and it like anything will just like that. And I was just having a bad day at work.
Also, we've had a bunch of it's supposed to be spring, and it's actually been pretty cold and gloomy. So Ashley definitely enjoys her vitamin D.
Yeah, I need to be outside.
I think it's vitamin D.
Vitamin E.
Maybe it is.
Is it
vitamin? That's not C.
Whatever vitamins we get from the sun, like I need.
It's been so long since we got it. We don't even remember.
Patty's in here. What's
Hello,
up,
Patty? Hello, Sonny.
Emma's in here. Then we got Margie. Sony, because Emma. I never even realized that I was saying your channel's name wrong, and until oh my gosh, what were you having?
That's funny. I have a coworker that actually spells his name Sony, like the electronics.
Yeah.
He calls himself Sonny.
Sonny, yeah.
So.
Yeah, you were talking. I think it was on like one of your last lives, and I was like, I feel so terrible because we've been saying her channel name wrong. So it's Sony's Place, not Sunny's Place, right? I caught that right. Help me, Emma. And then Patty, I'm so happy. See your lovely faces. Just thank you.
We got Betty Randall in here. And Dee's Homestead. Good to have you all.
So what's going on with all of you guys? I feel like it's been like literally. I feel like it's been forever since we went live. It's been a couple weeks.
Although we did get a kick. I don't know anybody that caught the last live. Near the end, our little dog jumped up and barked or yelped pretty loud.
I don't know why. Yeah. I think the little baby goat jumped on him and scared him.
Yeah.
And he screamed, and it made me scream. Kind of. Mark made me go back and screen grab from the live and to play it over and over and over. So we had time watching the end of that, but
it has been that long that Squeakers has been in the house, hasn't it?
She comes in every day. Yeah. Tonight is her first night out in the barn.
Yeah, after being inside for.
She's almost 4 weeks old, so she's been in for like the last week and a half. I've been taking her out at like during the day, so I have does that I separate kids from them at night, and I have another group where I separate kids during the day, so that at some point she has kids in with her all the time. But it's been so cold and on and off, like cold and warm, that I'm scared to death she'll die because I thought she was going to die like for the first 24, 48 hours of her life. And so we've been bringing her in, but tonight it's not going to get below 50. And she's really starting to integrate in with the goat. She's learning that she's a goat. And she's wreaking havoc in here when she comes in at night. So it's time for her to be a goat. I don't know how I feel about it. I've been trying to document my journey with Miss Squeaker so I can share all the moments with you guys. But I'm not going to lie, like I've been so overwhelmed, and I'm 4 weeks behind from filming to editing.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with Willow's birth video. Willow's kids are 4 weeks today. So it was like, I just kind of suck at this thing right now, but
Uh,
it's
got a lot
coming.
going
They're
on.
coming. We just have so much going on.
Yeah.
And softball started again, and 4-H is gearing up. And I keep volunteering for things to give my time to other people, which is wonderful. I'm actually really looking forward to something I've got going Saturday. But every time that I do it, I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Oh my gosh, down the wrong patch. But we've also had like lots of visitors at our farm here lately.
Yeah.
Like people that we've either worked. Well, you're one of your coworkers, one of my ex-coworkers. That
look, it's Bomber Steve.
Bomber Steve's in
Hello.
here. Hello, how's it going, friend?
Good
Haven't
to
seen
see
you in a
here.
while.
We got David Outdoors.
Oh my goodness.
Did you get monetized? I believe so. I know you've been looking into it a little bit, but
I did.
I mean,
I'm not
rich.
making anything.
Yeah, we're not buying any bigger farm yet. So
yeah, but I did reach the goal, and it's been interesting. Actually, like during our last live, I had the algorithm catch my latest video, and it looked like it was putting it like at the end of a Roots and Refuge. So I got a lot of views on that video, and I've been seeing like the trickle off. So that's nice. And I was like, I need to ride this wave. And then we've been kidding out, and I've started milking twice a day.
We've actually been homesteading.
We've been doing what we tell others to do, and it's taking all
Sony's
our time.
Place said most people mispronounce our channel name. We expected it. Well, we'll practice on
I really
want
to try to make sure, because I mean, for me, I had a lady that at work. She always called me Angela, and I let her for like the first year. And she finally caught someone saying, "Hey, Ashley." She's like, "Is your name Ashley?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is Ashley." She's like, "I've been calling you Angela for a year." I'm like, I'm like, "It's cool, whatever. Call me what you want, as long as it's not a bad word. I don't care."
Yeah. Patty said, "Storms rolling through after 11 p.m. here. Wind, rain, and they say lightning too. Around here, seeing is believing on that part."
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That might mean
we're supposed to get well, I think it is, because like this weekend we have a heat wave. Like it's going to get in the 80s.
A storm chaser right before this, but it was like nothing really going on. Like it was just falling some small.
But that makes sense, because like this whole weekend we're supposed to be almost in the 80s, and then after that we drop down to like only highs in the 50s again. So we're on this roller coaster ride of it's spring and summer. It's like we're back in winter. So it's been crazy.
Emma said, "I think Amy from Farmer's Kind of Life is one of the few that pronounced it correctly."
I'm going to be the second one.
We just call her Emma, so we're good.
I know, but I feel so bad, because I'm like, that just kind of sucks. That made me feel...
Farmer Steve also said, "My new job is great, but keeping me really busy. I actually have to work now."
I hate
so are you
when
still
that
messing
happens.
with the snakes then, or is your new job totally separate from that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I heard what his new job was yet.
I don't. What were you doing? I know you were at a college before, like a university.
Yeah.
Running a bunch of buildings. I know that's super like certain parts of the year for that are super stressful, and you see so many weird things.
I assumed that catching the snakes was his full-time job. He seemed so good at it. I was like, that has to be his profession.
Yeah, I think I'm right. I'm probably not right.
That's right. You did talk about work
because like I work with scheduling.
Yep.
I used to anyways. Now I just rate policies.
Yep. Totally new life.
Insurance.
David Outdoor says, "Congratulations." Thank you. Bomber
Steve
said also, "We finally got our dam in, and we got over 2 inches of rain and filled it over 1 million liters of water."
Well,
that is awesome.
That's awesome.
Because I know you guys struggled with a water shortage for a while.
Yeah.
So that's a huge relief.
I'm so glad to hear that for you. That gives you such a peace of mind going into like dry seasons.
Like water and grass and all that stuff. We've actually seen hay sales pop up recently at decent prices. So,
but it's last year's cut.
Yeah,
it's people making room for last year's cut. Where and now that we're in this period,
but honestly, it's been low compared.
It's been low compared to what we thought it would be, but it makes sense. Like they're clearing out their barns because they know that with the way that the weather's going up and down, and it's been pretty wet. I think we're gonna have first cuts here like early May.
They're already trying to get
early May. So they're trying to move that. And honestly, whenever you're buying last year's hay, you're gambling. Like you can go and inspect it and everything, but you're still gambling. It's still not going to be as good as this year's cut.
Hopeful. I mean, we're happy to see
we will probably
prices,
buy it because honestly, we went through a lot more hay this year than we thought we were going to.
I know, that was a rough transition, but it made me think of that when he was talking about water.
Yeah.
And having stores up, because hay is something we're always trying
right now it's important to keep anything stored up because So many things seem so uncertain, which is part of the reason why we've kind of, I'm a month behind.
Also, one reason we got, can you see it up there on the top of the fridge?
Yeah, I got, that one. A pressure canner.
Yeah,
I got my pressure canner.
I put it up there earlier today. That's why I know it's up there. But actually, Ashley ordered that this week, and we definitely are going to take the plunge into canning.
Yeah.
We butchered a goat since.
We butchered our first goat.
Yeah, that was big.
Oh my gosh, we've done a lot of things since we last talked to you guys.
The table is full of plants around us.
Yeah.
I know you can't see it, but
it's sad because I've got leggy brassicas. Because the bad thing is, like, I'm almost done with some of my raised garden beds, and some of like this colder weather, cold hardy stuff can go out. But with kidding, I'm in a lull now. I have one doe getting ready to go, and then I'm in a lull. But I do milk in the mornings, evenings. So, yeah, I need to get them out. Honestly, I've got a lot of cold weather stuff that should already have been out, but I'm pretty much just chasing my tail, being overwhelmed and anxious.
Hello, crazy life. Good to have you.
Hey, Mo, what's up? How are you doing?
Dave Outdoors. I can't stay long.
No problem.
Just want to say hi.
Just glad to say hello.
Joined us tonight.
It's good to see you.
Emma said it's been days and days of rain here. Yeah.
Off and on here.
Not
as bad as what you guys are getting.
Even when it's not raining, it's been sort of gloomy, honestly.
And windy and cold. It's pneumonia weather for goats. So anytime somebody coughs in the barn, I'm like, who coughed? Like, who did it? Because then I'm honestly like going over there and like, if it's a baby picking it up and like listening to their lungs, like, do you have a rasp? So,
Bummer Steve said, I'm with the local First Nations or Aboriginal cooperative as a facilities manager, similar job to
university.
To the one at the university. They deliver medical and social support services to the Aboriginal
That's really
community.
Cool. That's super awesome, Steve. Like, I'm glad to hear that.
I'm sure rewarding on many levels.
Yes, 100%.
That's cool.
That's so cool.
So kudos to Steve.
Emma says you couldn't get me to work for an insurance company. Of course, I said that and said the same thing about more. Yeah. There are definitely ups and downs.
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking to one of the executives the other day, and they were talking how they went to. Sorry, guys, I got a cold. A local university, and like had a job fair day, whatever. Talk about your job opportunities and stuff like that. And they had breakout sessions and everything. And like our company, Liberty Mutual, was there, and one kid went into the breakout session. They're like, others had hundreds of kids. Like one, they're like, it's sort of hard to sell it. So.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Like, honestly, growing up, if you'd have told me I was going to be working for insurance a good portion of my adult career, no. Yeah. But honest to goodness, I don't mind working for something that is completely unrelated to my interest, because then my interests don't become my job, and I can
say there's a lot of elements to it, especially because our company has so many different coverage types and personal, commercial. You can find different areas that gives you a lot of change.
Yeah, there are a lot of different cogs that work in that machine. That's for sure. So if you get bored with what you're doing, there are about like 100 other departments you could go to and do different things.
Which we have honestly explored. We've
jumped around. Spots, so. But it's been good because it honestly adds to knowledge sharing, which isn't very far off of what we do with homesteading. You know, we all start out with like bits and pieces with like a general interest, and then as we decide we want to do something different, we add to our homesteads. We add different types of varieties of plants or livestock, or we go to permaculture. We find different ways to garden. It's really not that far off of what we do. The basis of us jumping from one department to the other. But honestly, it's made us. I'm not a SME, but I've listened to you on calls. I know you're a SME, which for those, that's lingo for a subject matter expert. Or you're just an expert on one thing. I'm a SME for goats, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Perhaps. I've gotten lots of mentoring calls like over the last couple of weeks. It's been kind of crazy. I've got 4 or 5 that I'm in close contact with, which is not bad at all. I love helping other people.
Yeah.
It's been rough. Margie says we had 10 inches of snow yesterday, ready for spring. So
seriously,
10 inches.
Wow.
Come on, Pennsylvania, get it together.
Spring is coming around the corner. You get 10 inches
of snow. I know, poor Margie. That just sucks.
Hopefully it warms up soon where it melts it off fast, because that's a lot of snow.
Yeah. So we've got 80s coming this weekend. So we have 80s. It's going to be in the 60s the next 2 days, then in the 80s the next days, and then back down to the 50s.
Outdoor projects will be in full swing.
Oh my gosh. Sure. So actually, Friday we're going to go do a community cleanup with our 4-H club.
Yep.
So that'll be the first portion of our evening, and the
Cleanup
second
and
portion,
planting
yeah,
flowers.
planting. So they're actually, our 4-H group decided that they were going to help with a community garden, which I think is phenomenal. The more that people can understand where their food comes from, have the ability to go, put their time into a garden, maybe because they don't have the garden space, or they don't have access or land for it, that it makes me super excited. So we're going to be doing that. And then Saturday, I'm actually have been invited to go talk to a Girl Scout group over beekeeping and the importance of pollinators, honeybees. So I'm super stoked about that. Frightened to death of all those kids looking at me about beekeeping, but it's only like a 20-30 minute talk, but I'm super excited to go. And we're really starting to get to a point where we have a heart for our community. We want to be out and we want to pull people into the lifestyle. Maybe not so much where they've got, 50 goats and 30 chickens and are overwhelmed like we are filling their time. But I would love for them to at least be able to put their fingertips into it and see if they like it. There's always been somebody in our lives that they've been pretty instrumental in introducing you into something that you become very passionate about. And
for sure.
I want to be that person. It's like, no, try it. You don't know if you're going to like it or if you're going to be good at it until you try it. So don't be afraid to try it. So
Emma said, work similarly with our company.
Words are
this
hard.
Cold is killing me. Lots of opportunities for lateral or upward movement. Yeah, that's the way our company is too. It's so big, it helps that, there's just a lot of different opportunities across the board.
Oh, yeah.
Dee says, hey, be nice to Pennsylvania.
I know, but they got to get their stuff together with that
spring,
weather,
summer,
man.
fall, and winter all in one day.
We hear
the
ya.
Midwest feels
we
that
feel
sometimes
that
too.
Yeah.
For sure. But going back to Ashley's talking about sharing with community and just introducing others to things. We had a surprise visitor this week. So I was on lunch, heard a knock on the door, went out, and it was a Duke Energy employee. They wanted to clear out some of the trees along the power lines because there were risks of knocking down the power lines, and sign a little waiver, just tell me that's fine. And they actually put the logs up, chopped on our property, which is nice for fires, of course. And they, after I signed the paper, she's like, do you have goats? I was like,
just a few.
Just a few. I'm always sarcastic. And she's like, oh, we were thinking about trying to start something, with the way things are and all that. Oh, you don't blame me, I was talking about home serves a little bit, Home Serves America and stuff like that. I was like, you want to see goats? And she's like, sure. So I got Ashley, and we took her out to the barn, and she held Squeaky for a little while and
talked about goats, like what you would need to get started.
Educated her on what they needed. Good fences was the top priority.
Yeah, good fences. But it's been very odd. So I've had a few bottle babies. I've gotten. It's just been crazy. You guys will find out, in the videos. It's been a little bit of a crazy kidding season so far. But I've actually had a lot of people that are inquiring on goats for house pets, and I don't know how I feel about it because I've had a house pet. I've had a goat as a pet in the house for 3 weeks, and I'm like, it's insane when they're little and they can't get in everything. I can only imagine having a full-grown, more or less 2 full-grown goats in my house.
Yeah. So
I'm starting to be approached for different types of housing situations, and I don't know how to go about it. So that's been stressing me out a lot too.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be like, I'm stressed, but there's, I want people to feel that interest, but I also want people to understand, when you take animals, or even when you plant a plant in an area that the soil is not good, it doesn't get enough sun, it can't thrive. And eventually, it just dwindles off, and you're like, I'm going to pull this plant and I'm going to put it somewhere that it needs to be, or it doesn't thrive. And I feel that way with the goats. So I'm like, I don't want to put you guys in a house situation, but at the same time, I'm buck heavy again this year. So.
Yeah, buck fairies.
I have lots of goats with ornaments out there, and I can't keep all of them.
Yep.
But other than that, we've been really busy. Just I took the hat off everything. You getting hot?
A little bit.
You are drinking coffee. Is it iced coffee though?
Yeah.
No excuse.
Let my head breathe a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Emma says, I want goats, but I never have one as a pet. Yeah. And when someone approaches me and say, I want a house goat, I'm like, no, you need 2. And sometimes that's enough where they're like, oh, I don't want goats in the house. But sometimes they're like, no, 2 in the house is fine. And all I can think is, I'm like, you don't know what you're asking for.
Yeah.
You're thinking like a puppy dog, but with like hooves and stuff, but it's going to be so much worse.
That stemmed from a lot of the micro animals that people brought on, around, and them starting to grow in popularity.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people think, oh, well, a smaller goat can be brought in the house and treated like a dog or a cat, and it's just a different type of animal.
Yeah.
So
we've actually rescued animals that were like that. We had one where the lady I worked with, she's like, we need to rehome this goat. This woman really needs money. She needs to rehome a potbelly pig, and she needs to rehome a miniature goat.
They were
feeding it spaghetti.
Yeah.
It had no other goats. It was in a dirt backyard. They couldn't touch it. They ran it into a shed and trapped it in the shed, and the goat never made a noise. Like goats, when they're in distress, like will scream. They will bleat.
Usually
they will
vocal in general.
Very, very vocal. She never made a sound.
Yeah.
The entire time she was here, and she was not in good health. We did rehome her to a good home, and she did end up passing away this last year. Yeah, but she had 2 years of
took her on, and
she had 2 years of being with other goats and being treated the way that she deserved to be treated. But like I see that, and I'm like, these people got this thinking that this animal is going to be a house pet, and then realized they could not be house pets, and then the animal paid the price. Yeah. And I'm, in honest to goodness, like I'm not going to be like a PETA person. I'd like to eat animals. I understand what livestock is. I love pets, but when it comes down to it, like you have to put yourself aside.
Yeah, Emma's spot on, saying we need to share the hard stuff so people stop romanticizing the raising of animals.
Yeah, and I'm struggling with that because I've actually had a couple of situations where like I could either be nice and polite, or I could be that person like, no, this isn't right. This isn't right for you. You're not going to like the outcome of this. And this isn't right for the animal. And if you can't either pay for this or you're not prepared for this, please don't get the animal. Like, please save yourself the heartache and save the animal this issue. But
Dee's homestead. I'm getting a couple of Angus bulls for the house. Yard cats.
I hope that you have like I could see someone doing that though. It's the same with people that put like, and I'm not saying that.
Well, apparently Dee's is wealthy because I don't think we could fit 2 Angus bulls in our house. So they must have a big house.
Got like the spiked collars and they're like sitting on the front steps waiting for people.
Yeah, that is funny. You could get that like fake grass carpet.
You could like the turf, like the plastic turf.
Garden cows.
That's like the same as people that. And I know that there are always exceptions to the rule that would be like, this German Shepherd is a livestock guardian dog. Like, that is not a livestock. Like, it might be bonded to your livestock and it might guard them, but technically it is not a livestock guardian dog, and you're setting yourself up for failure and your animal. So please don't do that. It kills me. Like, do your research, figure it out. It's not fair.
Now Emma's getting a house cow. It'll be a miniature Highland cow. There you go.
I might.
AstroTurf.
I can see that until you see like what comes out of the other end of a cow. Then you're like, no.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be
in my house.
Roomba that's going to clean that up for sure.
Not in my house.
The Roomba just hit it and tip over.
And that's all I can think too is I'm like, you're gonna, even with goats, they can get tummy aches and they can scour.
Funny. Like Ashley said, we had coworkers come over. I had coworkers from my work I currently work with, and this lifestyle is newer to them, so they had a lot of questions and stuff. But their kids loved it. They had 2 young kids. They did love it,
but they were scared to death. Hilarious.
Yeah, tell about when it is out in that pen with all the goats.
So I had a bottle baby that anytime like I come into the field, it is like after me because I'm bringing a bottle. So it is. I'm like, it's stepmom. Mommy was making milk, but just not enough to really support them and grow. Yeah, he was hilarious. But he came out and he's like, I want to go out in the goat field. I'm like, all right, buddy, let's go out in the goat field. He walks out and this bottle baby, which is no joke, like this big, is zooming at him. He's like, oh, takes off.
Yeah.
Is gone.
Running across our field.
That kid is gone. Just running. And I'm like, Ray, stop. He's like, it's gonna eat me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna eat you. It might nibble on you, but it won't hurt. It thinks you have a bottle. So like I'm literally like carrying him. And my goats like to jump on people. So, and I know that's a bad habit. I shouldn't let them do it. But it was just funny because they would like come up to him and I would hold him and they would jump on me. He's like, they have terrible manners. I'm like, you can tell them that, right? It's okay. But
that's
they had
one
a blast.
thing when they come over and stuff, like people visit, like we're like, hey,
let's go in.
Yeah, let's go
in and have a full experience.
Through the chicken coop. We're just going to go and do what we do on a regular daily basis.
They got all my chicken eggs out, and the one he was like, "We're going to crack it open," and his mom's like, "No, we are not."
Yeah, and
he like grabbed it, took a plate over, and stood in front of everybody. He's like, "And now I'm going to show us all what it's like to crack open a chicken egg." She's like, "No, you are not." She's like, are you going to? I'm like, I will, buddy. But like in the morning when I'm cooking breakfast, we don't want to do that now.
Although I was all for like, just throw them down and
I know. We were
fun. But
and really we wouldn't have cared. Because we will throw them down for the chickens
when the
anyways.
Parents say no, we try to back the parents. A little bit.
They were chasing the ducks up to like the duck pond and sliding. And I'm like, that is the last place on this farm these kids want to fall.
Yeah.
But they had a great time. They got in with the ducks, the chickens. They brushed down the donkeys, and it was so cute. Like he had Emery, which was the youngest one, and I had Ray, which was the older one. And he was like, "This is my first time brushing a donkey." It's like, "This is my friend." I'm like, "That's so awesome, Ray!"
Cool.
Like
both of them were.
They were really cool.
Yeah. TNS Dogs and Dragonfly said that's like saying my Great Danes are livestock guardian dogs.
But there are people that will do that. Oh, good evening, everyone. Yeah. I know. You're like me, or I'm like, let's go. We're going to talk about this subject.
Great Danes are big dogs, though.
They are. I love them, though. I love them. But I would never put them in with my goats and expect them to guard or do any type of defensive work. People think because they bark and they've got claws and teeth that they can do it. I'm like, yeah, but we've bred them a specific way and have specific traits for specific dogs. They don't always cooperate with what we want them to do.
Steve said he's got to get going. Well, it was good to see you.
Yes.
Continued good luck on your new job. And he's talking to his boss. So good luck with that.
So cool.
Yep.
Thanks for stopping in, Steve.
That's a cool job you got into.
Yeah.
That has to be rewarding, I'm sure.
But I think having like people out to the farm, as much as I will whine and cry about it sometimes.
It was a big difference though from the people that came on Sunday, which was the following day. Or actually, they came on Friday.
Yours came Friday, mine came Sunday.
Yeah, and they were an older couple, but man, they love the baby goats. They just were in that pen the whole time. So
she was so cute though.
They were talking about bees, so we got to talk to them about keeping bees and how we got started because that's something especially
Bill was very interested in.
So it was like.
He scared me a little bit though, because like we went down by the beehives and it was warm enough so they were really active, and I was like, yeah, we've got an orientation flight happening and this is how you can tell. And they were staying way far back, and I'm like, you can come close, like they're coming in and out and foraging. They're not going to actively seek you out unless you're wearing like black, in which case they think you're a bear and they'll probably bump you, but they're not going to come after you. But then he like stood like right in front of the hives. I'm like, that's their highway. Like they will bump into you. They're just gonna run into you. So I had to like get them to come back around. I'm like, come this way. But it was funny because like they jumped right in, and it's really funny because people will come to the farm and you can tell like they're apprehensive. They don't know what can I touch, what can I handle, what's good, what's not. And like by the end of it, it makes me feel good when they feel like they're comfortable in just the short amount of time. Because honestly, that's what I want when people come. I want people to be comfortable.
We want to give them that experience a little bit. Some of the commercial farms you go to, you sort of see the high level. And like Emma said, almost romanticized.
Yeah, it is romanticized.
Our farm's not the most upkept, and there'll be stuff, odd places because we're working on
like
stuff.
There's an
old rusty trailer in the middle of the yard right now I need to cut up. But if anything, though, they'll be hands-on with things if they want to be. Like, we'll definitely take them into pens and gives them a different look. You can tell they're like, wow, this is cool that you have this and do this on a daily basis. So
and it is neat because, and honestly, and I think Lala was talking about this on Lala Farms live just before this. Like, she was talking about how they were at the fair and they were talking to people about their animals. Because like when you're there, I don't know if anybody here like shows animals, but when we go to the 4-H fair, like I milk my goats in the morning and the afternoon, and I really try to save milking in the afternoon until it's like high traffic, because you almost want it to be like a demonstration. And there are always people that will stop and will ask you questions. And it is amazing sometimes how people don't know, like for us here, that it's just second nature. And it's like, well, this is just common sense.
Yeah.
But for people that don't live the lifestyle and aren't exposed to it, they have like no idea. Like they were talking about guys like, well, I could just get a goat because it's a female. Like I can just milk it. Like it'll get old enough and it'll come into milk and I can just milk it. And it's like, no, they have to breed first. Like they wouldn't produce milk unless there was a purpose for it.
Yeah.
Much like humans don't produce milk unless we have children. And like it's the same for them. And that was just like right over their head. Like I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought like they grew up and they just were in milk. I'm like, no, it serves a purpose. But I think that's how frivolous we are too as a society, where we don't understand things don't exist just to exist. Like a lot of things naturally have a purpose. Like it's for production of some type. So I just think that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, D's, they will bump into if you wear black.
Yeah.
I can go anywhere. If I wear like a black t-shirt and I go anywhere close to my beehive, they won't sting me, but like I will have guard bees that will be like in my face or like just bumping me because they're just warning you. They don't want to sting you. They know they'll die. Well, maybe do you think they know that they'll die? I think it's instinctual. They know like, hey, once I do this, like there ain't no coming back from it. But that's instinctually in their makeup because they think it's a bear.
They try to do it last resort. You know?
Well, and they assume that black figure is being a bear, and bears honestly break into beehives. At least that's what I was told and what I've read. But honestly, they do bump me if I wear black. I try not to wear black outside. I was wearing
a black hoodie out there the other day, and they were bouncing around.
Yeah, Mark's like, they're all over me. I'm like, well, you're wearing black, so.
Either I do that, or when I'm trying to work on something, I swear I have like 30 flying around my head for some reason. I don't know. Didn't ask for help, but apparently they come to help me out. So
they're worker bees. They're trying to assist you. They're like, let us show you how it's done.
TNS Dogs and Dragonflies said, I can't say anything. My brother-in-law didn't realize you needed a rooster to have baby chicks. Yeah, that knowledge, if they don't, it's like anything else. If you're not taught, you're not going to know.
Yeah, you just don't know.
And more just ignorance, really it's not like, I mean, I've taken people that shot guns for the first time, and it's like one thing that you really have to watch for and is amazing is like you're holding an instrument that can seriously harm someone that people aren't used to holding. It's like, holding scissors or sword sharp and stuff, but you could swing it across the house and not worry about someone.
Yeah, I can hold scissors like this, and if you're out of the way, I'm not going to hurt you.
But then if you're holding a gun, you could point it in the wrong direction. But it's just part of that not knowing and understanding.
Well,
and
it's like we always treat that like it's loaded, and we never put our finger into the trigger guard until we're ready to shoot.
But it is amazing when you think downstream of how much stuff you end up using as an end product, and they really never had a thought about trying to figure out where it came from. Sometimes it's
or even just showing like people think a tomato is a tomato, and then it's like I was talking to somebody the other day. I'm like, I've got 20 different varieties that I'm starting. They're like, there are 20 different types of tomatoes. Like, there are way more than 20 types of tomatoes. Like there are so many types. Then we were talking about like peppers and like how they're like, oh my gosh, what were those? Notapinhos, which I have to start because Fairview Family Farm sent me those. I need to show them, but I need to get those started. But it's just kind of funny, like people just don't get it. And there are a lot of things like if I went into a city, which has happened, and they're like, yeah, you do this. I'm like, why? What do you mean I have to do that? They're like, this is what you have to do to park here. This is what you have to do to be able to go in this building, or you don't just like park your car here. I'm like, why? Why not? So I totally get it. I'm ignorant too in a lot of things that I don't do all the time.
Yeah. Emma said that's good to know. I wear black all the time.
Yeah.
We still do.
Yeah, I do. I know like to try not to. And sometimes I'll put it on and get pretty close, and like when they start bumping me, I'm like, okay, I'll stay away from the hives.
Yeah.
Because like they'll chase you to a certain point and they will stop.
Bigger nuance for us is wearing black is all the white hair we get from goats and dogs. In our house, you walk out with a nice
looks like a polar bear.
Yeah.
Hugs you.
Yep.
Because it kind of is like a polar bear. June is anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dee says it makes sense. I just never thought about it before. It's just a lot of people don't know that.
Now also asked, how many tomato plants did you start?
Do you want to know how many I started and haven't thinned out yet?
The computer right now.
So I've got a whole flat over there.
Yeah, you've been pretty productive in doing it. You've had the grow lights on downstairs doing it.
Yeah, I have 3 flats with them start, and I haven't thinned them out. I thinned out my tomatillos.
Yeah.
Which is my first year, but they're not liking that I thinned them and transplanted some into different. They're looking a little wimpy, but sometimes plants look wimpy when you transplant them for the first couple of days. So I'm hoping I didn't do an ouchie. Well, if the thing is, they germinated so well that I will just direct sow them. We have a long enough growing season. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah.
How many plants? I really need to thin them out because really for every star or soil block that I have, there's probably 2 to 3 in there, and they're all about
Yeah.
I'm chasing my tail here, guys. Like I can't even begin to tell you how hard I chase my tail sometimes.
Emma said, I have my tomatoes started, but need to buy some more. Don't know for sure yet.
Yeah. The thing is, thank you, Margie, for blessing me. Yeah. The good thing, though, like, you guys are so... Ew.
Thank goodness nothing's contagious over the camera.
You think I'm bad. He was bad. Today he was on a call.
Yeah, this call.
And, like, he will hit mute, and I know when he hits mute because it is just, like, hack.
Yeah.
And then he got off of his call with his manager, and he sneezed like 4 times in a row.
Yeah,
He's like, I don't know if I held all that in during the meeting or what.
I feel like this year, like working from home has finally hit me where my immune system's sort of gotten crappy, and we're actually going out more because of course things are picking up.
Yeah.
I feel like now I'm like catching up on all my sicknesses the past couple months. I feel like a new kid going to school. Like,
well, it's awful because he's running around hacking and sneezing everywhere, and I'm trying not to get sick. So. I don't know. My head's starting to hurt now. I feel if I get sick, I'm gonna be so angry at you.
Tell my sister at it, and she ended up going to urgent care today. So.
I know we had for Easter we had like a couple of services at church, like leading up to Easter, and it was funny. We walked in Saturday night, and I sang,
"If you give me the C word,
if you give me the coof,
the coof,
the coof." But it was funny because she like walked in and she's like, I can't speak. And I was like, oh no, because like we sing. So I'm like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 some songs. I'm like, so this means I'm going to have to sing 3 or 4 instead of like 2. Yeah. But I felt so bad for her because you could just tell like it is just torture this time of year, especially like when if the weather tries to do anything nice. I hate being sick in the spring. I have no problem being sick in the wintertime because I don't need to be outside on right now with milking twice a day and kids hitting the ground and planting coming around and everything else. Ain't nobody got no time for that. I don't got no time for that.
Even though the days are supposedly getting longer, they feel shorter.
Because they're very full.
True.
They're very full. And I'm getting up at like 5:30 every morning to milk because I work at 7. And I don't know what's going to happen when I'm milking 12 does twice a day.
Get Halls so I can breathe.
Okay. My simple pulse machine though is helping me. I can milk 2 goats at one time. I finally started using it and I love it. It saves me so much time. But Emma says I just got done pricking some alyssum and amaranth seedling. I love amaranth. Oh my gosh, I love amaranth seedlings and putting them in trays. 172 cell tray full of those and started another tray of beets. I started a couple of beets. And I transplanted some of them in these things, and they're looking puny. I don't know why. They're looking pretty puny, but I did that Sunday, so some of them are. Oh my god, dude, you're like sitting on me.
Oh, try to get close.
I know.
Nestle in there.
So like they should start. A lot of them have started to perk up, but some are just like, I don't know. I try to get ahead on gardening, and then when I do, I suck at it. Because it always comes around when kidding season hits. I can't do 2 big projects at one time. So
something has to sacrifice.
Something has to be bad, and it's my planting.
Yeah.
But it'll be okay. We'll get there. So, hello, Mama Burton. How are you? We just saw you.
Yep.
Dee's Homestead says, so if I'm watching this on my phone and have it on in my hand, is this considered close contact with someone sick? And if you want to say that, Deez, I will support you.
You can blame us if you end up
I will support you. Then Patty says, our pollen counts are down because of the rain, but it's still flying all over. How? I know. Yeah. I know. Get a room, Emma. I am in a room. I'm in like a room for my house. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, but actually the other day we had 20s, so we had a surprise
You had a
frost.
surprise freeze, yeah.
So yeah, we've been up and down a little bit. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, allergy season seems like it hasn't hit here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Which anybody that lives in the Midwest knows that
We're
it
just
can be a
peaking.
nightmare in
We're
this
just
area.
starting.
So that's so weird that the pollen counts are still high with the rain. Usually the rain knocks it down. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
We're supposed to get rain tonight, but it through most of the day tomorrow. I think that we're supposed to dry up towards the end of the day, but I'm really ready for some steady weather, and I know that we can't expect that in the Midwest around this time of year. I mean, we've had freezes in May, so I'm going to be happy for the 80 degrees this weekend.
Yeah, our rule is generally Mother's Day that we try to follow, and that's sort of a well-known rule in this tri-state area. So
yeah, Emma, it's like that here too. Pollen counts stay high even with the rain, especially around this time of year, because it went seriously, it went from being brown to green overnight, and things are like my flowering almonds are blooming, tulips are up, daffodils are up, my peonies, whatever anybody wants to say that regionally, are this tall already out of the ground. So I mean, my cherry blossom, my weeping cherries already bloomed, and the bloom's already falling off. So it's been crazy. But
hello, Rachel.
Hello, Rachel. How are you?
Dusty goat.
But we did get snow earlier this week. Was that Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had Easter, and then Monday, the next morning, we got an inch of snow.
Yeah.
I was so angry.
Fast and hard, so it was crazy.
I was so angry. I woke up, I'm like, I hate Indiana. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. It is all right. We're quickly getting to the point.
That Monday to Ashley said,
80s this weekend.
Saturday,
so it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is a thing. And I do my second milk test this weekend, so that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Been trying to break my girls to machine milking. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
Some of them love hand milking, and others don't want to be hand milked. Some hate both. Really don't milk me at all. Too bad. That is your purpose.
Deez has a question for you. So do you know what sunflower seeds they won from you last year?
Oh, if I was okay to re-gift them, of course.
Yeah,
you re-gift them. They're yours. You do what you want with them. So that's going to be yours. Oh my gosh, it's just a bunch of different. I've got there are teddy bears in there. There are
you like to do
the Mongolian giants are in there. There's some just regular old mammoths.
I think you always do new ones each year.
I do new ones every year.
So
I just have a whole, and I really honestly will just go down the line and snip 4 or 5 heads off of each row. So, or each different type. So there's going to be a whole bunch. It's going to be like a grab bag. So you might get the Mongolian giants that are going to get 16 feet tall, and the heads are going to be this big on them. Or you could get the little teddy bear fuzzy ones that are just
which are cool because birds love them.
Birds do love them. But you feel free to re-gift. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you re-gift any type of seeds that I give you. I'm happy to see if my seeds end up everywhere across the United States. That would be super cool. I would love that. I would love to do that.
There was a channel I was listening the other day, and he was talking about prepping. Of course, it was city prepping. It's got a pretty good channel, and just talking how when he goes on hikes, he plants vegetation.
That's cool.
Plants you
really?
Eat. Yeah, because he's on a bug out trip. If he had to, then he could pick up.
So he's preparing for himself if he has to take those.
Or anybody else. He said somebody in a while could then also pick up meat. Are you okay? Keep standing.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. But I thought that was a pretty cool little thing. As long as it isn't invasive.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about kudzu, which of course is highly invasive in the South. People on here, I'm sure in the South, are aware of it. Tennessee, last time we went, had a lot more growth than we had seen in previous years. But he was talking how it has a high protein content as well.
Really?
Which I was surprised.
That's crazy.
Almost like spinach. But
that is crazy.
Rachel says, miss you guys, a lot going on lately.
Yeah, we hear you.
We definitely feel that as well.
We hear you.
Ashley was mentioned earlier, she's struggling with some of the videos.
Very all over the place.
For sure. Emma said, I need to do some foraging. We've got yellow rocket cress, wild violets, and dandelions popping up everywhere.
We're doing the dandelion jelly.
I
steeped the petals. I just need to go grab some pectin now and do the rest. This is where my life is. I'm I want to do this. And I got this stuff steeped on Saturday, and here we are Wednesday, and I'm the hard part is over. Literally, taking the petals off and steeping it is over. Now it's the easy part, and I'm just like, I can't get time to do it. So
Mhm.
yeah. The wild violets. I would love to do the wild violet jelly, but I think you need like a crap ton of those to do, and we just don't have that many here.
Mhm. Sure. But,
I'm just looking at.
hello, Mrozinski. Good to see you guys tonight.
Hi.
You just like keep staring around different places.
I'm just
Patty
playing
said-
psych tests on Mark
Yeah.
tonight.
Kudzu is illegal here in Oregon. Yeah, he was talking about how
Yeah.
it was illegal to transport across state
Yeah.
lines in pretty much
Yeah,
everywhere.
when we went
but,
to Tennessee, it was everywhere,
Yeah.
like down in Gatlinburg and stuff, and
But
Pigeon
wasn't it-
Forge.
Didn't you say the goats can eat it though?
Goats can eat it.
Yeah. And they were like using that to try to control it. So
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
I don't wish it up here, but
Mm-mm.
yeah, they were saying that they were enlisting like goats to forage that to try to keep it eaten down.
Mm-hmm.
But even like goats still get full.
He said, I was thinking keeping half the seeds and send half to Mrozinski Family Homestead
Do it.
down in South Carolina.
Yeah,
oh,
do
yeah,
it.
all for it.
Yeah, do it. I would
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I don't like when people give gifts and then they restrict people from
Yeah,
going
it's
with
for
it. I'm like,
you. And I'm like,
we don't
it's
care.
mine
like,
now, and I
yeah.
will do with it
Yeah.
as I please.
No harm in that life. So
If you wanted to control it, don't gift it to me. And I feel the same.
is asking how many babies you have to.
I don't know.
Yeah. We've got quite a few.
It's all
way
blending
now.
in.
Way high now,
I
but-
feel like we've probably got 20-ish,
Mhm.
20-ish, maybe a little bit below.
Mhm.
I've got one that she's due Friday, but she is just so big that
Yeah.
I'm afraid she'll go early. So, but she can go early now. We're not dipping below 50s. It was like Monday and
We had
Tuesday.
a
I'm like,
crazy
please don't
scenario
go
too,
early.
where one of the does kicked off her buck, so we're now bottle feeding
have
that.
2
Just
bottle
rejected
babies.
her. That's really probably the first time that's happened to us. Isn't
And
it?
I don't understand why. The only
Yeah,
thing I
it's a
can think is
healthy
like I had
Good kid, so I don't know.
put squeakers in there, and I put 4 other kids to keep. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. I pulled 4 kids from 2 different does in to let them fill up their udder overnight so that I could milk, because now that I have bottle babies, like I'm not going to buy milk. I
Mhm.
literally have like 10 dairy goats in milk. There's no reason for me to be buying milk. So that means sometimes I'll pull babies to restock the milk that I need to feed bottle babies, which is squeakers. And one night I pulled 4 and they got out of their pen and they were in with this doe and a couple other does with their babies. And I honestly think like there was stealing happening, which means babies were coming in and trying to nurse off of mommies that weren't their mommies. And I think she just kicked it in overdrive and it was like, I don't want this buck anymore. I honestly feel like because those babies got in overnight and probably caused pandemonium, she associated that buck with stealing and was like, no, I don't want you. Because like the next day she would not let him nurse. She was like butting him. And she's a fantastic mom. Like is a great mother. So it was just very out of character for her. So I think it was my fault. Yeah, I think. Well, except for that, but honestly, it was my fault.
Yeah.
So now I have 2
Yeah,
bottles,
'cause
which
she's
works
got
out though because Squeakers is a bottle baby and she can't stay in here all the time.
She's got another doe, like kid,
yeah.
and she's
still, feeding it.
Yeah,
she
taking
feeds
care of
it
it like no other. So.
And he still knows that's his brother. When I
strange.
separate them, those 2 lay together so that he knows like that's his brother.
Yeah.
But his mom doesn't want him. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting. And trying to stay on top of things like that instead of letting it be like, oh, he's just a wayward baby that mommy's like, hey, I'm not feeding you, and he's being pushy, which he very well might. He's a greedy eater.
Yeah.
Like that could have been it where she's like, no, you don't need it. But he was just screaming. And I grabbed him and he didn't like me at all, would run from me. He ran to me. I put a bottle in his mouth and he took it immediately. So I'm like, he is hungry and I'm going to just make him a bottle baby.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm just going to make him and he's Squeaker's buddy now. He's the one that's teaching her to be a goat. So it's worked out.
Rachel enjoyed your 20-ish count. So
20-ish, I know.
That's where we're at, 20-ish. Patty said it's not a gift if there are restrictions.
It's really, and that's how I feel too.
Totally
where someone's like, where's that gift? And I'm like, what does it matter where that gift's at? It's mine.
Yeah.
It's mine now. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Did you come to my house just to see if I had that gift like hanging on the wall or whatever?
Yeah.
I can't. That's like one of my pet peeves when people control gifts. I'm like, no, you
Yeah.
cannot do that. You can't do it. But yeah, it's 20-ish. Who was asking the other day? And I'm like, I think I'm up over 50 right now.
Mhm.
That's a lot of goats.
Yeah, because we were over 30 before we started. So
it's bad because we just bud all of our babies. It's really something that I need to learn to do for myself so that I am not at the mercy of my very, very busy vet service, like right down the road. But they're like, how many babies do you need to spud it? I'm like, I don't know. They're like, how do you not know? And I'm like, because you guys are so busy. I have to call 2 weeks ahead of time, and I have 3 does that are going to deliver between then and now. I'm like, put me down for 14 and you're safe. I don't see me having more than 14.
Trying to get ahead of the curve.
They're like, are you serious? 14? I'm like, I am dead serious. 14. Do you want my money or not?
Yeah.
I will pay you to come do it.
That was said.
I know. That's why I'm
Here's what we're going to do. Next live, we'll have a raffle. You guess how many goats we have, and maybe we'll give away a mug or something. There you go.
I was gonna do that for like for a video and be like, hey, whoever guesses like how many babies we're gonna have and the buck to doe ratio and whoever's closest. But then I'm like, I started like trailing, and I'm like, if they follow me on Facebook, they're gonna know before the video ever comes out.
True.
So I scratched that. I'm like, I can't do that. But and we still have Belle, Rapunzel, and Molly. If Molly's stuck, I think I have a yearling that she came back confirmed bred via blood test, but she did have some like not great discharge like about a month ago where I'm like, she may have miscarried, but she's looking awful fat. So I'm like, maybe not. So I'm just down to 3. I had 13 does to kid out. I only have 3 left. The light at the end of the tunnel is visible, and I'm just trucking along. Crawl. I'm not even trucking at this point. I am crawling to the finish line. Poor Mark has to be like, you need to go lay down. You need to sit down. You need to rest. Like,
Rachel said, I'd be interested in getting a registered Nigerian doe from you.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of people that transport too. Yeah. We've had them shipped from Missouri to us, so it's definitely a possibility. If I let any does go this year,
send it through the air. They'd be like goats on a plane.
They do that. You do, but it costs a lot extra to get them shipped that way.
I'm sure it does.
And the vet papers and everything.
That'd be Ashley's version of the movie, though. Goats on a plane.
Goats on a plane. Except it wouldn't be a horror movie. It'd be like a dream come true.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Ashley's like, oh, another goat's back here. Yay.
Yeah. I'm so buck heavy this year, though. I've had tons of people asking for does. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm letting any of them go yet. So I know I will have 2 mature does that probably I will be making some hard cuts after milk testing is done and linear appraisals are done. But then people don't like that because then they're like, well, it's not your. I'm like, but I'm not going to give you my best.
Yeah.
Like, I need to know. It might be good for someone else's herd, but it's not where I'm wanting to go.
Patty said she had a friend give her hydrangea plants, and as she planted them, they were to give her flowers from them because she got them for free. Yeah, I don't blame her. That's frustrating when someone gives you a gift and expects a gift back.
Indian giver, no, stop that.
That's never fun.
My dad does that to me sometimes. When I had carpal tunnel issues, he gave me the bracelets like with the magnets, and I know that does work for some people. Like, I'm not questioning whether it works.
Yeah.
But he gave it to me, and like the next couple times he saw me, he's like, he noticed I wasn't wearing, so he's like, "Can I have them back?"
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad.
Funny story though. She was like an X-Men with superpowers though, because she was walking through the grocery store and got too close to the freezer door and it jerked her arm into the freezer door. It looked like, funny thing was, it was actually by the ice cream, so it looked like she had like an involuntary desire to get ice cream.
But it slammed against the metal so hard. I was afraid it was going to shatter the glass in the door, but then everybody's like, was mortified. I was happy to give him those back because I'm like, I can't walk down
that was sort of
the frozen aisle, the frozen foods aisle in Walmart.
Yeah.
I love me some ice cream, but not that much.
Yeah.
Dee says, glad you told me some of them might get that tall.
Keep away from the power lines.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Mongolian giant ones get huge. Like when I cut them down to get the head, I had to cut them from the stalk and had to timber because they were so big. They were so big.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie, what's up? She says, hello. Wow, I'm late. My 250-pound buck was stuck in a fence and my son is asleep, so I had to manage him.
Man.
Oh, wake your Shut up.
Yeah. Holy moly, I'm exhausted.
Got
No
to
wonder.
wake up. Oh
I would
my
be
gosh.
too.
Bless your heart. 250.
Yeah.
That's the reason I got out of Boars. I mean,
Emma
man,
likes that. I
goats
give
on a
goats on
plane.
plane. And Rachel
Yeah,
said you
buddy.
bring them with you to our event.
I'm going to try,
Yeah.
Rachel. Going to try.
We're trying to watch airline prices, but they're not looking too good right now. That reminds us, we also still got to order our HOA ticket. Or
No, we don't.
I
have
know.
it.
Our
the
room,
hotel.
Yeah, reserve.
Yeah.
So
Well, Samuel L. Jackson be the lead.
matters how much he likes goats.
If he was cool with snakes, he's gonna be down with goats.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
I'd take Keanu Reeves. I like him. John Wick.
I feel like I would turn into John Wick if someone hurt one of my goats.
Probably would. Rachel said, "No, don't say that. Y'all got to come. We're
really trying. Like
yeah.
I know he has a big work thing that whole week, but we're trying. We all really are watching. 100% we're watching.
We got some notifications out there to flag. Yeah, who was it? Nicole posted like some nearby campgrounds and stuff like that and cottages, was looking at them. So looks like there's a lot of neat places to stay near there. So that's really nice. But it's
going to be warm there.
We're waiting to see.
And it also, I hate to say this, but also because where I'm at with like milk testing and everything. I'm really hoping in October I am drying off. I'm drying off. I really hope.
Yeah. She said I understand about cost. Yeah. Everything's about cost now.
Hanson Never Done Farms. How are you? And welcome to the chat. Because we had our buck hang himself by his back legs in his fence. I swear they have a death wish.
Yep.
Thankfully, only his pride was hurt. Other than a minor limp, he was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a buck
do a similar. Kill himself that way.
He
with the front leg, which was so weird. He must have died. He
got it up into a crook of a tree and got it hung up. And I mean, he really did a number on himself by the time, like, because we were only gone for a short spell. He destroyed his
shoulder and everything.
Yeah,
like it was insane. Because honestly, like I'd fed them, I walked away for 30 minutes, I came back, he was hung up and dead. And I'd been outside the whole time. He never screamed, nothing. Yeah. I was like, what happened?
Ashley was shocked.
I was like, okay, homicide or suicide? We're either trying to kill each other or we're trying to hurt ourselves. I'm like, come on, guys. Yeah, goats are just, they find ways to be a nuisance, that's for sure. Or buckets of water. I've learned the hard way around kidding season with buckets of water.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like the most horrific thing to come into in the morning where you're like, how did that happen? So I don't keep really deep buckets of water. I give just enough where my does can drink, and that if a baby gets in the bucket, it can get out. So awful.
Yep.
Emma said, I told Nicole we wouldn't be able to make it. Already have our event scheduled for the year, and that one is really close. It is really close. Yeah. It is really close. Yeah. And usually like that week we're in Gatlinburg, but this year because of his work event, like we could. Are you going to travel for that? Will they have you travel for that?
Might. Sounds like they're opening things back up, so it's a possibility.
So can you be by myself at home? I don't like that.
I think you'd rather be with your goats than somewhere else.
It depends where you're at. And it depends if my goats are still in milk. If my goats aren't in milk, I won't care.
We'll see what's more important. No, I'm kidding.
Don't ever do that. Please don't do that. It's me or the goats. I'm sorry, honey.
Whoever makes you happy. Rosinski said, how many people are going with y'all to HOA?
So I think just with, I don't know. There's a lot of people we want to meet up with.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're caravanning with anybody. I think we were going to let our daughter come this year, but she's old enough, and I think she really enjoys ruling the roost with my mom when my mom comes to watch the farm.
I'll let her make that call.
So if she wants to come, she can come with us. But if not, it's no skin off of her teeth either. Like she's totally fine. Because we would have to pull her out of school, and I'm kind of a stickler about that. Like I really don't like pulling her
this year.
Oh yeah. So we'll probably hang out a lot with Emma. I could see us hanging out with Chip and Nicole, Jay, from Celtic Farms, 100%. Freedom Homestead. I'd love to hang out with Anna from Fermented Homestead and Constance from A Good Life Farm. There's Tom. Tom. If they go, Tom and Patty, I would love to hang out with Aldermans again. There are so many people. Like it is just a big reunion.
Like initially, we like knew a couple people like Emma and stuff like that. We were excited about the speakers. Like now we're excited
Yeah.
about meeting other friends and
Yeah.
people we've got to know.
Yeah. Last year I felt like we were like the most awkward.
Yeah.
He's just standing there like twiddling our thumbs, like, I want to be social, but I'm not.
Yeah.
You all intimidate the crap out of me. Fugate Farms. I'm late, but I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Well,
welcome. I'm glad
Fugate
that you were able to make it. So, Mrazinski, are you going for sure? Because I need to start making a list.
Mm-hmm. Rachel said they will be at HOA, so we'll
Yay!
definitely see
I know
you
that
there.
Lala Farm is going to be there, so I'm super excited to hang out with you, with Rick and Kim. That's going to be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is Little Rick coming with Big Rick? Just wondering. Does anybody know?
Emma said things are opening up soon, so she'll probably go into San Francisco in December. Looking forward to it. That'll be awesome.
That'll be awesome. She's like, I'm excited to hang out with Chip and Nicole. We've been Zoom buddies.
Yep.
I've been so upset that I've been missing your Zooms. I'm really happy that you've been sharing them, though, in the Facebook group because I've got them, like, queued.
I was going to say, you've been watching them while you work.
I really try to. I just feel like I suck at this YouTube thing right now. I'm like, just like, it's weird because, like, you get these goals. Like, everybody wants to get to, like, well, when Emma and I were trying to get our community tab, it was 1,000. Now it's 500. But it's weird. You like get to those goals and you're just kind of like, okay, I got there. But then it's like, what's the next goal? And I'm very goal oriented. So like I got to monetization. I'm like, this is great. And then life happened and I'm very overwhelmed and I'm dealing with anxiety.
Some good points on that and just YouTube in general on her recent talk with Anne of All Trades.
Yeah, she did. That was really good too. So I don't do lives on Instagram. Like Emma, is that still available for people to like go listen to? You can drop your link in there because I thought it was a really good talk.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really good talk.
We were in the goat barn.
We were in the goat barn. I was trying to milk and I was trying to get everything. So I didn't get to interact as much, but like there were a lot of very thought-provoking sequences in there. And somewhere I'm just like, man, I really suck at that. Like really, I really suck at that. And like, I don't know if I'm good at taking like harsh criticisms or like cut it. And I'm like, no, this is my video and I want it in there. But then I guess that also comes down to like, do you want to grow? Do you want people to stick around? Do you want a good, like your click-through rate's good, but if nobody's hanging around for more than like 30 seconds, then what does it matter if you have a great thumbnail? So I'm like, okay. So I need to deep dive into my analytics in my free time.
Yep. Rachel said she has to go. Thanks for stopping by, Rachel.
Good seeing you, Rachel.
Good seeing you.
We're hoping to get down there. Hoping to get down there.
Fingers crossed.
He says, I was the same way. I talked to Mrazinski, Waltermans, Chip, and Nicole, and Don. But that was don't. I talked to like don't you talk to me. No. But that was about it. Yeah, I know. It was so weird because like I knew you were around there, and I'm like, I want to see people. But it's just weird. Like it goes into a blur. Like you're just trying to get to places and I mean, really, like that's a great place to soak up so much experience and so much knowledge. Like Emma was with me when we were doing like the cover crops. I didn't even see her there for a minute. I remember they're like jotting down all these notes. And the guy behind us was being extremely rude and would not shut up about whatever he was talking about. Sorry, Emma knows what I'm talking about. But I was like, dude, take your conversation somewhere else. Nobody cares. I want to learn about cover crops. I'm sorry. Emma knows. Emma knows.
Though. We really enjoyed the speakers too.
Yeah. See, so Emma did just drop her Anne of All Trades and Sony's Place discussion. It is
especially
fantastic.
If you're a YouTuber. Yeah. A lot of good information.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of good exchange there.
And Emma.
Yeah. I really appreciated how you were talking about your avatar, like what you. And I'm like, that made me think. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know who I'm aiming to talk to, and I don't know what my avatar is. So like, it was very thought provoking for me. So if you are a YouTuber here and you create content, like I would really recommend that you go watch it because like it really was thought provoking for me. Where I'm like, oh, but then I'm like, when I have time, I will have to come back and revisit and really make notes. So Resisty says, yes, we got our place to stay and everything. I think it's a 4-bed, 2-bath. It's a cute house. Did you do an Airbnb?
I was gonna say, I think. Yeah, they mentioned that.
I think that would be so fun.
That's what I've started to look into. Because honestly, that it seems like they have better pricing than a lot of the hotels recently. So and as everybody knows, the pricing's just so out of whack. Yeah, rental cars, everything's just nuts. So.
Yeah. Hanson Never Done Farm says we have a 5,000 goal by July 4th. I think you guys can do it.
Oh yeah,
because you guys have been. Okay, you guys have had like a ton of growth here lately, right? Am I? Because like I love your guys' videos. I'm a worker. I listen during work, and I'm always afraid. It's weird working remotely. I feel like my boss is always like, she's away or she's dormant right now.
Yeah.
She's not working. So I feel like they're watching like my status on my
Yeah,
on the activity of my computer. But
they said people are awesome in their support. Yeah, we love the community that
we do too. Yeah, we
connected with.
We really appreciate the community that comes with this lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Because people either really understand it and they love it, or and they adore it, or they're just like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, yeah, to have 50 goats, I'm crazy. I get it. I know.
Gate Farm said, just looked out the window and the goats are out. So I gotta go. Thanks for like look at our window.
It's dark out. We will have to close ours up very soon though.
That guy was so annoying.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I felt so bad because I'm like, I don't want to be that person. But I was like so close to her and just looking at him like, dude, stop it. He was talking about something totally unrelated too.
Mm-hmm. Marazinski said Airbnb is the way to go. So yeah, that's per your recommendation, probably the route we'll end up going for sure.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Hanson Never Done Farms. Like seriously, because I've watched you guys.
People
I'm like,
love
man, like they're getting like a ton of views. So that is so, and I've been super happy for you because I love seeing people that have cute little goats, and then you've got so many people that want to watch and like want to learn about them. So I think that's been so awesome. You guys keep going.
What's your buck to doe ratio? It's funny. We were on a Old Mountain Farm page the other day, and we were laughing because we both saw it, and they were talking about their buck to doe ratio. And for them, they actually have a pretty high doe ratio.
They did have a high doe ratio, but then she had one doe that dropped like quad bucks. She's like, "Woo, bucks are rallying."
The scales are tipping. So
we are super buck heavy. Though Blackberry did try to change all of that for me and gave me triplet does. And then I really try to make them like love me in the first 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get those ones where they're just like, no, I hate you.
Are you going to drop what their names are? Because you named them, didn't you?
Oh, Margie, are you still in here?
Yep.
I'm just curious if you're still in here, Margie.
This one's named Margie.
One's name is Margie.
Yep.
And then I told Tangi over at Freedom Homestead, which she doesn't know yet. I will be sending her a message very soon. Because Jack won't let her have goats.
I was going to say, you're just going
Jack is being a wet blanket, and I cannot wait to torture him and be like, Tangi, I'm going to wear my Freedom Homestead shirt and be like, Tangi, look, you now have a goat named
just for that reason.
I'm a mod in their chat, whatever. I will not ban myself.
Not a permanent status.
Shut up. So I'm gonna have to take a picture and be like, look, Tangi, you have a goat.
Emma said, I had someone reach out about sharing an Airbnb. We decided to book a room at the closest hotel instead. That'll give us freedom to hang out with whoever we want instead of driving.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I like hanging with people, but like I am a private person. Like when it comes time to wind down, like I don't want anybody around me. Like I'm just like, I want to come back and
I'm more like pushing her, like, let's go do this. Like I was literally stopping to get Starbucks because she found a Starbucks drink she liked.
I did
while I was down there.
Yeah.
So I was like pumping her full of caffeine using that.
Because he knew if he could give me jitter, and I would be like, yeah, let's go do things. But I found out I'm very addicted to caffeine last week.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find these. Is anybody having shortages? Like, I don't need to drink these, guys. I know I shouldn't drink as many of these a day as I do. I get it. I know. But I couldn't find them anywhere, and that's like literally all that I drink outside of water and lemonade. And it was rough. I found out I'm very addicted to caffeine because I went 48 hours without it. I thought it was done. Mark's like, drink this iced coffee. I made it to where it doesn't taste like coffee, and it made life bearable for a second. Margie, I named a goat after you.
I knew Margie was around.
I knew she was probably still here, but I named a goat for you because I was like, Margie's so awesome, and she's a sweetheart, and she's spunky. And Margie, I know you're spunky. I know you're spunky. Hanson Never Done Farm. Okay, I'm gonna have to learn names because I'm so terrible about names. Okay, so you're talking about a show you're all meeting at. Yeah, Jeff and I are almost ready for a big. Okay, go to the Homesteaders of America conference. It's in Front Royal, Virginia. There are so many awesome people there. They all love like doing like what we do, homesteading, self-sufficiency. There's a lot of knowledge sharing, knowledge banks.
A lot of good speakers.
And there's just a ton of people there that even standing in line for like food for 2 hours, I talked to everybody around me. It was like everybody knew one another. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited about John Lavelle being there. From
The Warrior Poet.
So, yep. But yeah, like Ashley said, the event was amazing. So many like-minded people in one place is great. And honestly, a lot of people here in this chat are going down. So
yeah, it's gonna be like a family reunion. So please go. I would love to meet you in person. We could talk goats. Because when crazy goat people get together, that's all they talk about. And I know he is so tired of hearing about that.
He said, I'm getting goats to go with the guard bulls. There you go.
They can ride on top of your bulls. They like to stand on other animals, so it could work.
Pumped for Spelunkers burgers.
Yes. Yep. I will show you a picture of your namesake, Miss Margie. I've not taken a really good picture of any of them yet. So I will make that my personal drive
Hanson
to
agrees
do this
with
week.
You though.
Yes.
Caffeine is life, girl.
Dude, for real. Especially on kidding season where you're just like, I just need to get through for the next 3 hours. Like, I'm already sitting here. I'm like, I have to get up at 5:30 to milk the goats. Arisha. I knew you had a different name, too. So I'm glad that I asked. I will do my best. Yeah. Because, like, crazy goat ladies.
People are
name
similar.
Starts with an A for life. It's like a fellowship. Like, Fellowship of the Ring is Fellowship of the Goats. Crazy
Life Homestead also has a goat.
Yes.
Yeah. You're a part of the community.
You do, Mo. Yeah, Mo's out there. I finally got Mo's papers. The ADGA did not, like,
that's right.
They only took, like, 6 months to get me her papers.
Yep.
Her registered name is Mo, then a pretty face. We call her Mo.
Emma said caffeine doesn't work on me.
Really? I'm sorry, lady. Because, like, I don't know. Seriously, like, the Monday, the 48 hours I went without caffeine, I was good the first 24 hours. It was the next day where I was just, like, emotional. Like, having a mental breakdown at work. I'm like, I suck at everything, and I'm tired, and I just want my caffeine.
Yeah.
Mark's like, take this coffee.
Yeah, for me, I've pretty much switched over to coffee. I've gotten pretty much off energy drinks. Do one every now and then.
Every now and then he'll ask
coffee is definitely my source of caffeine.
Yeah.
And then also they make these pouches called grounds. They're like tobacco patches.
They're like a snus.
But they're
or snooze. Is
actually,
it snooze?
It depends on where you're at.
It's a regional thing.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, they got coffee in them, and you can use them like in your jaw, and supposedly you can get caffeine out of them, which seems to work. So
there you go.
Yep. Can't get a cup of coffee.
Then you feel like a true redneck because you look like you've got dip in.
There you go. Got to go with that with the beard. That's why.
Oh, and then this. So you guys ever have that where like life just throws you curveballs where you're like, I am strapped for time, like I cannot add, and then it's just like here. So Joe this year
like
for like on a daily basis, it happens like every day here. But Joe's softball season started, which I didn't think she was going to actually play this year, and then she decided she wanted to. But they gave us our schedule, and guys, no joke, like once a week she has double headers. Like, I can't do this. And I'm like, Mark, when am I going to milk the goats? He's like, I guess right after work. And then it throws me off because I'm like, well, for milk testing and like for production, I want 12 hours. I'm like, so if we have a game at like 5:30, I need an hour and a half to do all the goats. I'm like, I'm gonna have to work. I'm gonna have to milk at 4. I'm like, that means I gotta get up at like 4. I'm like, I can't do this. It figures it's the year where I've decided that I want to be a part of the ADGA Plus program and be a performance herd. Or see if we're performance herd. There have been some. It is amazing, though. I will not lie. When you start questioning like how productive your animals are, and then you actually start measuring and keeping records on their food intake and their care versus their production, it shows you so fast who needs to stay and who needs to go. For sure. And now that we're at 50 goats, 50-ish goats, I have realized I'm like, boy, we have to make some cuts. Like we cannot kid out this many and not get what we're asking for in return. So I've got a lot. It sucks because I freaking love all my goats. Freaking love them. But then feed costs are rising and the hay prices are rising, and I'm
drastically too.
Yeah. Seeing how much hay we fed this year too, I was like, whoa. We need to. And that's a hard part too, I think, of homesteading when you're super passionate about things, and then you realize I don't like admitting when I have a limitation or when I've hit like my wall. I don't ever want there to be a wall. I want to be able to go like infinity and beyond at like Mach 3 speed, and I don't want anything to slow me down, but I've definitely found those walls.
Yeah.
And it sucks to have to dial things back. I hate that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody correlate with me?
I'm sure there's probably other homesteaders.
Margie says, I am having those pictures of Queen Dilly enlarged to hang on my walls. Roger's family has taken his pictures that he had, so I am hanging my stuff now.
Oh,
that's good.
Queen Dilly would be happy.
She would be so happy because Queen Dilly has been really grouchy. Margie, I feel like I need to have a talk.
She gets bossy when all these kids come around.
Yeah, you can tell. Like, she likes being a grandma, but they're like that annoying age where they want to be all over her, and she's like, I hate all of you.
It's Adrian.
Hey, Adrian. What's
sorry
going
you're
on?
burnt out. Yeah,
it's
she's
okay.
been feeling it.
It's
stretched
okay.
a little thin to say the least. So.
And it's like, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit it. It sucks, but we're getting through it. Yep. We have honest to God, we have too much going on to where I'm like, I can't slow down. Like, I have to keep going. Yep.
Crazy Life said hot tea, orange, black. Yeah, there's some teas that have some strong caffeine.
You know, I've really thought about looking into some teas.
I think green tea is a big one.
Yeah.
Nicole had a plant the other day, or it's been a couple months, I guess, that also had caffeine in it that she found growing down there. It was crazy. It was like some type of berry, I think.
And Nicole at Hidden Oaks Homestead, she's like the queen of foraging. Mm-hmm. Like 100%. Lady knows a lot about a lot of native plants in her area and what they're used for.
Her and Chip are cool.
I almost thought you said her naked. I'm like, who's naked?
Naked. I meant to say her and Chip, and I said almost her and Nicole.
Her and herself. But she knows like a lot about foraging. Like, she's a wealth of knowledge where I'm like, I want to come down to your property and I just want you to walk the property and I want you to show me what you're seeing. So is the real number of goats one? No. I don't. Dees, behave. Don't let my secret get out. We can't let people know how many goats I really have. The honest to God's answer is I really don't know how many goats I have right now. I don't. I'm around 50 though, for sure. Because I had 28 prior to kidding, and I'm pretty sure I have about, 20-ish kids. So yeah, I'm getting pretty close to 50. So I'm not quite to 100. I did talk to a breeder once where he's like, he started telling me how he had to really like corner his wife, be like, no, how many goats do we actually have? And she's like, well, do you want to know like yearlings or dry yearlings, or do you want to know the keeper pen or like the foundational does or the animals that live here and don't serve a purpose animals? Or it ended up being like 200. She had like 200.
Oh yeah, that guy came up.
Yeah, but they're well known like Nigerian dwarf breeders, so I totally understood where she was coming from. And Arisha says, you're an inspiration. I'm hoping to put my girls on milk tests next year. This year was just too crazy with just trying to get everything set. It is. Yeah. It is crazy. Definitely picking your brain about how to go about that. That's fine. I will do my best to answer. And then if you pick my brain to where a point I don't know what I'm talking about, I will pick other people's brains. And we will figure it out together.
It's been a learning experience.
It is. Sure. It really has. But it is, I will say, like, I feel like going for production or a performance herd really does, it almost realigns your mindset, because like I'm pretty utilitarian about things anyways, but I love my goats and they bring me a lot of joy, but I'm getting to the point where I'm like, they serve a purpose and I love all of them and they do serve a purpose, but I can love them and say, you serve a purpose, just not my purpose. And someone else will love you. And I've gotten to the point where I've really started vetting my buyers. Really started vetting, like 100%. Like, prove to me you have other goats, because you cannot just take one.
Well, I think 2020 was a wake-up call when people just out of the blue were thinking, "Oh, we're going to get a goat just in case things get hard."
It's just weird because, like, I know goat, and you can argue with me as much as you want. You will never change my mind. Goats are the ultimate survival animal. Period. Like, in my mind. Period. Because they travel in herds, they bond to you, milk, meat, compost, permaculture, they do all of that. If you needed to grab an animal on a farm and throw it into a van with everything else, if I only could pick like 2 or 3 animals, it would be my goats. 100%. 100%.
I think chickens are pretty good.
Yeah.
You're like, I need my goats.
I need my goats. My chickens would not follow me across. Like my goats, if I had to go somewhere on foot, they honest to God would follow me. They would follow me wherever I went.
Yeah, we watched the episode while we were trying to educate ourselves when we were going to dress out the goat.
Yeah.
And
so for those of you that just joined us, we butchered our first goat not last weekend, but the weekend before.
Yeah.
It was a learning experience.
There's a YouTube channel called The Bearded Butchers, which
we love them.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
They're awesome. They have beards.
Obviously,
so
Mark loves
like a found brotherhood there. But yeah, they have an episode called Apocalyptic Butchering of a Goat, and they talk about how a goat can help sustain in rough times like that because they don't give you an overabundance of meat.
They give you just enough.
Yeah, just enough where if things happened, you wouldn't have like refrigeration just to store things for a while. So they talk a lot about that. It's actually a lot of good detail, not just, of course, their expertise of butchering, but why they picked the goat.
Yeah, and we learned like that their silver skin on their meat is super sticky and hard to get off.
Yeah,
it was a nightmare. Someone's like, I would do venison 100 times over before I ever butchered a goat because of the silver skin on them, and I can attest. It was tough getting. And some of them, I'm like, I'm not even going to try because it's still edible. It just might not taste the best. And honestly, I figured once it's frozen, it'll be easier to take it off once it's thawed and it's a little cooled. I will say, like, I would have liked to have hung it a little bit longer than what we did. I'm not doing a full video on it because I know it's not
YouTube friendly.
Everybody's appetite, and YouTube probably, because I do think about the monetization.
And I also
now,
will say
they won't monetize
from that standpoint, we didn't want to make it like an educational because it was our first time, and honestly, we were learning a lot from it. So we don't want to be like, hey, here's how we butcher a goat. And honestly, there's probably a lot of things we would do differently, but it was a good experience. And
it's for that, like, honestly, when we're good at it, I will do a full video and I won't care about monetization because it becomes about knowledge sharing at that point. But this was just like an experience where it's like, this is our first time. I'm going to share it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it, but definitely don't take this as like, this is a step-by-step. This is how you do it.
Where'd you leave off before I had my coffee? I had to run out here.
Sup, Emma? Adrian saying hello to
Margie.
Every spring I tell you, I know. Yeah. Dilly must be having an angry mood.
You guys are connected.
You are. You are. She's been super grouchy. The other day, I went in there with a feed bucket and she put her head in it and just rammed it to the ground. Yeah. Like, I could not get it off the ground.
I'm getting my feed today.
And Mark was watching and all the Nigerians came in. It was like a mosh pit. And I was so angry at Tilly. I'm like, you get out of that feed bucket. It was like riding a wave of pregnant goats. It was crazy because they were all really fat and pregnant. And it was like, I can't do anything because they're all pregnant. And like, I don't want to hurt them. I guess I'm going to have to let it happen.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Ash was frustrated to say the least.
Looking over and over the will be what? Yeah. I know. I know. It's so bad. Good channel, but I'm jealous of the beards. Yeah, I know. But oh my gosh, we were watching them like slather up ribs and put them. I'm so hungry. I can't watch when they cook it because then I'm like, I am savory. Starving now. Yeah. So
it's always fascinating to watch too, like how skilled they are with their cutlery. Like they'll just use those knives and like here I'm struggling to get meat off a bone and they're just sliding right through and
they make their cuts look so beautiful. Like, but then I think that was something we struggled with when we were processing the goat because, like, when I was deboning this animal, I'm like, I suck at this. I'm like, these cuts look terrible. I will say
it was good for you to see that, like, parts of a goat from a different side.
Yes.
Like, you learned a lot from that. Because my sister came over and both of you were talking a lot about, like, here's the stifle and here's different things.
Yeah, because for show purposes and confirmation, there's some talk around the stifle bone. They're like, you actually won't be able to know what you're talking about unless you were to see a dressed out carcass of a goat. So we were like examining the stifle bone, like, oh, okay, I see what they're talking about here. But it was kind of funny too to watch. I had a 1-year-old wether and they had a 6-month-old buck, and the difference in like the maturity of the meat was just ridiculous. Yeah. And it also goes to fat content, but it also went to genetics too, because like my buck throws slow growers. So, and that's just in his line. Like that's genetically, that's just what is in his line, but not in her lines. Her lines are fast growers and you could tell. And it just, I was like, I need a buck or I need a doe from you because
Yeah.
I need faster growers.
Yeah.
Especially if we're gonna butcher out,
Funny how those genes pass, even though like little things like that. You're like looking for unique qualities, and yeah, fast growing kids are one of them. So
yeah. And I mean, honestly, I kept a buck for last year because that was one of the few he matured quickly, and he was out of one of my best does. So I threw him over other does that I thought needed help with that. The one, it doesn't matter. She just throws puny. She won out this year in her genetics.
Kids already this year. There's a couple that
they're honest to goodness though. Like there are a few that I'm like, now that I'm separating them at night and actually physically picking them up and taking them to a pen, I'm like chunks. So I'm happy with that. I have seen like an improvement from last year's stock to this year's stock, which is what you want to see, that especially if you're any type of production market, you are looking for an improvement from generation to generation. That just sucks though when you love them like pets and they can't be pets. So
for sure.
So Mo said we went to look at a small farm and their goats follow us everywhere we went. Is this a farm that you're looking at to buy? Or is it just like a farm you went to visit? Because I know you guys have been looking. So
and do the goods come with it? No, I'm kidding.
That would be a super
big followed you already. Why not? Right?
Yeah, but they do follow you. They're herd animals. Like they do bond with you. Even like the ones that hate me, because I bring food and I am the herd queen. They would still follow me, even though they hate me, because it's just they know like when you're out there, they're on top of you. They want to be with you. If you move, they're moving with you. I just think that for self-sustaining or like bug out, that they're probably better. And they can eat browse. They can eat pretty much anything. I mean, you take a chicken out in the desert, it's going to be like, okay, it is what it is. Goats will still find browse.
He says it always makes me hungry watching them. Yep, us too, like Ashley said. On the goat one, it was interesting because like they really didn't make those fancy cuts like Ashley was talking about, making it pretty, because they're like, during that time, you're not going to be wasting any meat. Like sometimes to make a steak look nice, they'll cut off some of the trimmings and stuff. But on that video, they didn't want to waste it.
These are calories that you would be wasting. You don't.
So they just hung up a whole leg and roasted it above a fire.
like on a spit. We're just like cutting off. But because like really, you think about in that scenario, if you're cooking or if you've caught, catch, or catch and cook. It's called a catch and cook. If you're catching something and you're cooking it, like you're doing it right away, because let's say like scenario, end of the world, grid goes down. Like you don't have an oven to just throw it in. You don't have an Instapot to put, like literally you're starting a fire and you're putting it over the fire and you're cooking. And as it cooks on the outside, you're cutting off, which is what they've done in the past. So it made a lot of sense. But it just, in the same sentence, I'm like, Mark, how many people will know how to do this? Like if that were to happen, not that I'm trying to doomsday you all, but it just really, with shortages and things that are kind of getting scarier and a little less guaranteed, we have decided that there's just a lot of knowledge. So I've got my pressure canner now. I need to learn to do that, because even if I can't get it, I can understand the science to it and how to do it. Butchering out an animal, we wanted to do the goat because we deer hunt, and honestly a lot of our protein intake is either the chickens that we grow here and butcher out ourselves, or are the deer that we harvest when they're in season. So processing out a deer is expensive. The tags in Indiana just rose in price again. So with that rising price even there, which I totally understand why they rose the price. Like I'm not complaining. Well, I will complain about it, but I understand why they've done it. You got to save money where you can save money, especially if I'm going to feed goats during the winter and hay prices go up and feed prices go up. There are specific things where you want to cut costs. And that's one thing that we've seen is like, hey, when we pay for a deer to be processed, when we were paying for chickens to be processed, those are things that we can invest our own time and skill to and do it for ourselves and save some money. Yeah, it takes your time, but honestly in the fall, we're not as busy in the fall as we are like right now. If someone were to bring me a deer right now and say, I'd be like, I ain't got no time for this.
In all honesty too, like the processing side, it's not just the cost, but there was such a backlog on butchers and processors. Like honestly, it was like either crazy. You keep these chickens extra months, and honestly, at that point, their bodies are breaking down.
You can't keep them extra months. Like an extra week can be death.
It was more of like, you're wasting the food or you're taking to a processor.
Yes.
So And there was many hog farmers and swine farmers that were having that issue because
Yeah.
the processors were backed up.
Mhm.
And they were talking about basically executing or euthanizing the hogs because they didn't have anywhere to take them.
Well, they don't have anywhere to take them, and that's exactly
expensive.
right. The food, it was like either we lose the investment of the hog, or we keep feeding it to never have it butchered out.
Yeah, Fugate Farm said goats are back in, all is well. We totally understand that. Yep, all is well on the farm once the goats are back in the pen. That's so funny.
Yeah, and Mo said we can't buy it until he gets back. That's right.
Mhm.
Haven't any idea when he will return to work. 5 months now. Oh my goodness. I just hope that resolves itself for you guys.
Continue to pray
That's
for
so
him,
stressful.
but yeah, hopefully that.
Current salt and smoke. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 100%. So Emma said we cook a pork meat on a vertical spit where we cut and serve the outer portions as they cook.
Mm-hmm.
It's called al pastor and is influenced from shawarma. So yummy. Which makes sense because like when I was young, I'd be like, why are they just cutting it? But it makes sense. Like you're removing the cooked part so it can keep cooking. Yeah. It removes the time. You're not waiting forever for the whole leg to cook. But yeah, I don't know. What I remember, like it wasn't last year, but the year before, and it was the reason why we decided we were going to start butchering our own chickens. Is I called the butcher, and I had to keep them an extra 4 weeks.
Yeah.
For meat chickens, that's an ungodly amount of time.
The swine, was it last year or year before? They couldn't even sell them to a packer because they didn't have a processor that wanted them. Because they're like, no,
that was even last year.
Yeah.
For our 4-H, they had no buyer to take swine. Which usually, like when you do an auction for 4-H at the end, especially if you have animals that are true market animals that are going on a truck, they do not come home with you. Having a buyer is very important. Yeah. And they did not have that for swine last year. And it was because they're like, we can't get them in for processing.
With the people
because then you buy these market animals to show.
And they couldn't take them to a processor.
No, because then they're like, what do we do with them? Because honestly, it turned into like us. Let's families get together. We're just going to try to do this ourselves the best that we can, which honestly, sometimes that trial by fire is the best way to learn something. When you are forced to do it because there is no other option.
I'll be the first to admit I learned well from my mistakes because when I do something wrong, I usually not do it again. So, yeah.
And someone can tell me not to do something 100 times. I am like him. I have to learn by doing it where I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Not doing that again.
Too bad in the process, but. Yeah,
Mark's like, I wish you'd listen more to me because he will tell me, like, don't do that. You'll hurt yourself.
And one saving grace, like I've talked to a couple processors, like, hey, if your cuts aren't pretty, I mean, that's fine. They'll still cook and eat. You can eat, eat them as normal. But even like some of the trimmings and stuff, they're like, grind it up. Like the grinder will work to give you hamburger meat that you can use in a lot of different ways. So, I mean, that's sort of a saving grace to butchering it yourself too. There's always a grinder to catch some of the mistakes.
Mo, are you talking about for pressure canning, like water bath? There's something about the pressure given in like the pressure can, because I've been told 100 times, like, do not water bath can meat. Yeah. Like it needs to be pressure canned.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody even try it. Like, I was watching a pressure canner today, and they were doing beef stew.
Yeah, because we want to do that with deer when we get it, because I think that would be. I'm always thinking like if the grid, and I know the grid probably won't go down, but if it were, my freezer is full of meat that will no longer be of any use to me. So I'm trying to think of a way that I can dry storage it at room temperature.
A lot of people have like used it almost as a way to marinate the meats too, especially something like deer.
Yeah,
and you can infuse a lot of flavor by canning it too.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Bo, but when I do more research and we get ready to can our own meat, hopefully I can give you a good answer. Or if there's someone here, they could probably give you an answer too. So Emma said, if we add animals for food, we're going to do the butchering ourselves. That's why we only have chickens right now, but we're getting turkeys this year.
And I believe you know a good guy that makes good butcher knives, so you should be in good shape.
You should never be without
knives in general.
Knives in general. Yep. Yeah. And then Arisha says, get ready. A lot of food is processed in America, but packaged materials is made overseas, China. Not a lot moving in or out of Shanghai. That's what I'd heard too. And I'd also heard that like a lot of our fish supply actually comes from Russia and is packaged in China and then comes here. And was like, wow, that could
also the fact that they actually own a lot of the farms and main processors here too, like Tyson and stuff.
Yeah.
So those are owned overseas, unfortunately.
So cooked meat. I still think cooked meat
I just don't know.
has the potential for that it has to. I'm almost sure it has to do something with sealing with bacteria.
Dipping our toes into. So, yeah, some of the Amish here water bath. Their meat, no pressure canners.
Really? Everybody I've ever talked to is like, never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. I'm sure there's probably ways that you. And if you're going to probably go through it quicker, maybe it's more of like, hey, the shelf life isn't as good as if it were pressure canned. Because I know with the Amish, like they're making their own food, so they're not really as dependent on processed foods as we are. So they probably do go through it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good question. Never do that. I knew Joe Mama, if she was here, she was going to pipe up because
there's the canning expert.
Joe Mama does a lot of canning. I was wondering, I was like,
I know
someone's going to pipe in and say no.
Joe Mama, if you didn't hear, we got a canner.
Why? So. Can you tell us why? Because I think that's the everybody hears it, but why?
But yeah, we got a pressure canner.
Yeah.
So
we did, Joe Mama. My pressure canner. Oh, my head's in the wrong. It's right.
There you go.
So I did get it. I went with the Presto canner. I was gonna go with All American, but then I'm like, I really don't want to spend all that money if I suck at this and I destroy something. So it looks like they have so many fail safes though, Mark. The more Mark reads into it and looks at it and reassures me, the more I'm like,
yeah, I'm big on instruction manuals. I like reading through them, and they had a lot of fail safes. So reassured her that we're probably okay from blowing up the kitchen.
I figured it had to do something with bacteria because I mean, water bath. Sometimes I don't even like using it. I use it for like canning my jalapenos and like jams and jellies, but past that, like I don't do a whole lot of canning. So
Hanson makes a good point. Also, any foods with a low acidity.
That makes sense.
So things like tomato then would probably be fine with high acid, but.
Presto canner works just good.
There we go. Got her.
Because I looked at the price too, and I'm like, I don't want to spend that much because everything is going up in price. I'm trying to get prepared.
But if our garden does well, as we hope this year, without Ashley's early plants, we should have plenty to can. Let's hope.
If I can get them outside and they all do okay. If I started all of these seeds and none of them there are plenty of farmers markets that I'll be happy to support someone else who is selling starts. It'll just be more money, which is crazy.
Yep.
It is crazy, especially because I'm looking at some nicer goats.
Yeah. Emma mentioned, do we have a gas range or a glass top? We have a glass top. Yeah.
But we have been looking at I know people do lots of canning outside. I've been looking into that too.
Yeah, we have that.
We do have a glass top.
There is a risk there of using a pressure canner on it.
Yeah.
So we've sort of looked into that. Yeah. But so this one's pretty light, and it looks like people have used it on glass tops before. So I think we're okay. We'll see. We'll let you know if it doesn't work.
If it destroys it, it destroys it.
That whole thing about learning by mistakes being made.
Mistakes are sometimes expensive.
Yeah.
I don't like admitting.
And Ashley would be like, "All right, honey, I broke the stove. Time to get
okay, Betty made me feel. Prestos are lighter in weight. Also, I can can on my glass stuff. Yep. That's what I was told. I'm like, it's lightweight enough that I shouldn't have to worry about it. But
yeah, we're excited to try it out. So.
All right, Dee, thanks for hanging with us. I'm going to have to run too because I have bottle babies that need bottles. I need ducks that need to be put up. I have chickens that need to be put up and goats that need to be separated from their moms still. And we have one more trash can to take down.
We've kept these poor people over on here for an hour.
But they've been so wonderful, like entertaining.
Like I said, we're excited to join everybody tonight.
Yes. It has felt like a long time since we hung out with you guys. Yep. And Willow's birth video is almost done. I have like one or two voiceovers that I need to create, and then I can upload. No, mentioned Roger, and just continue to keep Margie in your thoughts, prayers. Joe Mama, I know you're going through some situations too with your partner, with your spouse. Oh, so goodness. Keep them in your prayers and thoughts. So we're all good, Mark. I know. Yeah. Well, good, right. Margie. I'm glad. I'm glad. 100%. I'm glad. Yeah, glad you were here. Yes. Oh, Jennifer. I got the Presto electric pressure canner as well, newbie, but excited. Me too, Jennifer. We can be newbies together. There we go. I don't know if I will make any videos right off the bat, but I do feel like it's important to share my failures, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of failures. Never steered away from ugly crying or failures on the channel before, so you might still get to see that. But I do think we're going to call it quits for tonight. We've got a lot still we need to do, and bed sounds so nice right now. But we appreciate the time that you guys spend with us. We appreciate it. We look forward to talking to you guys every week. We will be here next Wednesday, barring storms, craziness, all of that. But in the meantime, we hope that you are all staying safe out there and being kind to one another. And we're going to catch you in the next one.
Good night, y'all.
God bless you.